I've had a request for a quick video about walking bass lines. It's quite interesting. Walking bass lines are very common in jazz, but particularly in blues. They come in a couple of different varieties. A really common one. Okay, see how that works, and the reason it calls a walking bass obviously is because it walks up and down. Okay, you see other different types of walking bass. If you play a lot of jazz, walking basses are often based on scales. Okay. Before we look at a couple of those in detail, why might you use a walking bass? Well, a couple of reasons. The main one is that if you are playing the piano solo, in other words, you haven't got a rhythm section with you, you haven't got a drummer, you haven't got a bass player, that's going to be most of the time, you need some way, if you're playing rhythmic music, of generating the rhythm and of generating a bass line. Okay? If you've got drums and piano behind you, you can do what you want and really just concentrate on more melodic stuff. But if you're by yourself, or if you're just with a singer or a guitarist or whatever, you're the guy that's got to do the hard work creating the rhythm and the bass. Okay. Secondly, it's kind of fun if you're creating a really thumpy good bass. It's really bitey and fun and enjoyable. Okay. Let's look at a couple of sample walking basses. First of all, we're going to stick in the key of C for now, nice and simple, and just have a look at this one, which is useful for 12-bar blues. As you can see, all I'm doing is taking a chord of C and the 6th note and the minor 7th and walking up and down the 5 notes. When it's time to move to F, whoops. Okay. Now, one of the tricky things about that is getting your fingering right, because if you finish this one and jump, you can have a very definite break. So one of the things you'll notice I was doing in the first version was doing some fancy fingering to keep it legato. That can be quite hard work, especially when you get a big leap like that, but it does sound quite cool and saves you having to mess about on the pedal. A really cool option, if you can keep it up, is to double that pattern up. Now, there are a couple of problems with this. It's really hard to get it accurate. If you can, it's fantastic. The other problem is that I'm doing it and ow, my hand is beginning to hurt. I know guys who can just do this and do this and do this for hours, but it's like riding a bike or going to the gym. You've got to practice. I'm going to have to stop. Okay, so if you can do that one, that's absolutely cool. That's a really fantastic one. Scale walking basses, like the minor one I was playing, they're pretty simple. All you have to do is play up and down a scale, okay? So if you're in the chord of C or A minor, as it was there, you go up and down the chord of C or A minor, starting on the note that is the first note of the chord. So at chord of A minor, chord of D minor, chord of G, chord of C, chord of, whatever, okay? Very straightforward. The only problem with that is you really need to be on your toes, knowing when the different chords are starting and how you're going to get to the root note smoothly, and also you need to know your scales. If it's in C, it's pretty easy, but if someone hits you something with it in G flat or E, you have to know your scales. So another great reason to practice your scales. Okay, finally, this is one of my favourites. This is really groovy. Just watch this slowly and then I'll play it with some stuff on top. It's a chord of C, chord of F, so you'll see I'm not playing an F note. Okay. As you can see, really cool. It's bloody difficult to play. It's really hard to get it there, and you really need to practice and practice. I used to be really good at that when I was a teenager. It's the first time I played it in about 10 years, and as you can see, it was causing me some real hard work. But it's a lovely one, especially going down onto that quasi kind of A minor. It's an F. Just watch it one more time. It's so cool. I'll try and do it without screwing it up. Okay, it's pretty difficult stuff, but practice and practice and practice and you will get it. You can see how it's working. It's a bit like this one, which I play fairly regularly, but based on a walking pattern. Okay, there are loads of different walking bass patterns. Your best bet is to come up with your own. Okay, that's another really common one. Very, very simple. Okay, have a play around, have an experiment, try some of the ones that I've just demonstrated, especially that one. See if we can get it right. There we go. So there you go, walking basses. I may come back to this subject because it's quite an interesting one, but in the meantime, play about with it, see how you get on, think of your own.